no offensive capabilities.
Got us. Give me all 6 fuel cells.
Aye, Captain.
Damn it.
They're closing fast, bearing 285.
All right, there, we can lose them there.
You are suggesting that we utilize the passage between the approaching structures. This ship will not fit.
We'll fit.
Captain, we will not fit.
We'll fit! We'll fit! I told you we fit.
I am not sure that qualifies.
Star Trek Into Darkness. Only in cinemas from May 9th.
It was really important, that we, tell a story that pardon me, that seemed to kind of, feel relevant and have a certain kind of, authenticity to it. But, you never know. You do the best you can, and you just, hope for the best.
Spock, nobody knows the rules better than you, but there has got to be an exception.
None. Such action violates the Prime Directive.
Spock, we're talking about your life!
That's very sweet. Well, it's a funny thing, but that opening sequence was something that was one of the very first things we talked about, and it just felt like a fun way of sort of illuminating the difference between these two main characters, Kirk and Spock. You're 100% right, and by the way, I would say if you watch almost any episode of the original series, with all the talk of the Prime Directive, they break it almost every episode. It's hard not to. I mean, it is a wonderful premise, but like you said, if you look at it closely, it's a hard thing to sort of have it stand up to scrutiny.
Let me explain what's happening here. You are a criminal. I watched you murder innocent men and women. I was authorized to end you. And the only reason why you are still alive is because I am allowing it. So shut your mouth.
Captain, you're gonna punch me again over and over till your arm weakens. Clearly you want to, so tell me. Why did you allow me to live?
We all make mistakes.
No. I surrendered to you because, despite your attempt to convince me otherwise, you seem to have a conscience, Mr. Kirk. If you did not, then it would be impossible for me to convince you of the truth. 23174611. Coordinates not far from Earth. If you want to know why I did what I did, go and take a look.
Give me one reason why I should listen to you.
I can give you 72. And they're on board your ship, Captain. They have been all along.
But what we tried to do is figure out a way to give the main character of Kirk an antagonist that was kind of his sort of symmetrical opposite, and figure out a way to put him face to face in a kind of more sophisticated and complex interaction. Because the first film that we did, our bad guy played wonderfully by Eric Bana. It had that role was a kind of furious, vengeful, villain, and this character needed to be a much more kind of complex, nuanced, and subtle guy. And so it was a really interesting thing. We didn't do it from the outside in, looking at other things for reference. We just tried to do it from the inside out. It was very simple. We were definitely looking for an actor to play this part, and David Lindelof said, "You got to check out this guy, Benedict Cumberbatch in Sherlock." I did. He blew my mind. He auditioned, and that was it. We just knew we had our guy. I do feel like the fun of the first movie was a wonderful sort of origin, and being able to kind of just introduce these characters and sort of find a way to bring them together. And this one was, we didn't have to recast these iconic characters. We didn't have to try to figure out what the design of the world was going to look like as much. But because this movie was sort of, for us, kind of in the shadow of the last one we did, we needed to sort of treat this as its own thing, not assume that anyone saw the other one, not assume that anyone cares about these characters, really start from scratch. So this movie was made, to have no experience necessarily in terms of prior Trek, and if you happen to assume our other film, wonderful. If you happen to watch the original series, that's great. But this movie is very much about a new experience. I will say that the balance of what to embrace and utilize from the original series and what to let go was always something that was a discussion. And at the end of the day, the decisions that we made were not made lightly, and ultimately, hopefully, will entertain people. Well, we wanted to make sure that I mean, there are a couple of things. One of them is that I feel like I'm, constantly learning and how to do my job. And I do feel like while I have a little bit of an issue with ADD, attention deficit directing, I do know that there are certain moments that I think do benefit from a more legato, calmer approach. And I think whether it's about things like you mentioned, like scale, whether it's issues of, emotionality and kind of letting moments land. And the truth is, some of my favorite movies, when you watch something like, Philadelphia Story, it's a remarkable thing. And granted, that was a play before it was a movie. It's amazing how cutty we've gotten in film and how much better some scenes and sequences play when you just let the actors do their thing. I gotta tell you, first of all, the shot, thank you for that, and I don't disagree with you. That shot was something that I think it almost broke the back of the computers that were rendering this thing. There were so many, the water simulation was so insane and massive, but the artists who pulled that off, my hat's off to them, because they really did an incredible job with that shot. Imax. I gotta say, I was never a fan of 3D, and we ended up doing a conversion for this movie that I think is spectacular. They did things that haven't been done before. They were able to sort of look at over the years, sort of learning what they've learned, figure out ways to push the envelope, and also to appreciate people like myself who would get eye fatigue and have a difficult time sometimes in the 3D. And the wonderful thing in this case is I think that they managed to do the best of 3D and then go even further. So for me, that's kind of icing on the cake. We actually shot nearly a quarter of the movie in IMAX, which means those massive, incredibly loud, bulky, and unreliable cameras, but the quality is so crazy good that the IMAX experience, to me, it's not just being shown in IMAX, but quite a bit of it was filmed in IMAX. So for me, the combination of both is a little bit like icing on the cake. My focus was to make as good a 2D movie as I could, well aware that we were going to be doing a high-end 3D conversion, and I'm really thrilled with how it came out. So I have to say I'm a little bit of a convert, only because I think that, I see it work really well, but I've also, as you have seen it work really badly, and I think that the future of 3D depends 100% on the quality of upcoming films in that format. Well, I promise you that as we ramp up this process, that is the key for us, is to make sure that we do moviegoers proud with the story. Oh, absolutely not. I think that loss was part of a bigger trend of storytellers finding opportunities to tell stories in television that features just at this moment aren't allowing. And I think that that is a trend that I believe and hope will turn, meaning that films will become increasingly an area where you'll see these kind of stories and characters being celebrated, and not just movies that have franchise connections like the one that I'm releasing today. But I will say that there is I agree with you completely. Some of my favorite stories that I'm watching lately happen to come from television. So I think that it is, whether you could say it's a golden age or not, I don't know, but it certainly is a remarkable time for great TV. There's stuff that I've been working on. Really looking forward to getting this getting to a place where there's an original idea from the ground up. But I would say that I am not a snob when it comes to where a story originates, meaning if it's a novel, an old series, a song, if there's something that in my heart feels right, then I'm gonna try and do it proud and realize it. So in the case of doing an original thing, having done that in television, I really do look forward to being able to do that in features. We're working on that project, and again, very, very early stages, so it's a little bit too early to comment, but we're getting there.